Watch as migrants and locals clash outside a migrant hotel in Southampton. Police arrived to bring order to the scene around 5 p.m. on Saturday, after reports of around 100 protesters amassing outside the hotel. Hampshire police say they are investigating an incident that occurred at around 6:15 p.m. on Saturday. A spokesman said, "We are aware of an incident outside Highfield House Hotel and inquiries are ongoing to establish if any crimes have occurred." Tensions have been notching higher at the site for months. Just weeks ago, migrants were filmed fighting outside the hotel at night as neighbours reportedly cowered in their homes. The Southampton Times reports residents were awoken to the commotion around 2 a.m. on the 7th of October. Protesters brandishing the British flag have staged a series of protests through the southern city. This weekend they were confronted by pro-Palestine protesters.
From Hamas! Uh-oh.
Migrant hotel protests continue across Britain after sparking at the Bell Hotel in Epping over the summer. Epping Council, like others, heeded residents' fury and sought to have the migrants moved out of the local hotels. Others, like Tower Hamlets in London, have debated instead whether to designate protesters far right and write off their concerns.
A lot of people have been saying bad things about Raise the Colours and, of course, the Pink Ladies movement. You're all really under the same umbrella, but to be officially talked about and designated as far right at a council meeting, is that taking things too far?
Well, I mean, when I first heard about this and it was first brought to our attention, I actually thought it was quite funny. And I did laugh because it's so utterly ridiculous. But then I spoke to some of the ladies in the group and we are absolutely furious because, again, we're being labelled extreme racists. You know, the definition of far right is extreme nationalist or xenophobic racists. We are women, mothers and grandmothers who are simply saying to the government, why are you still bringing in thousands of men into this country unchecked and sticking them in hotels and HMOs next to our children's schools? That is not racist. That is just basic risk assessment. So, you know, when we looked at this motion, we thought, what are they trying to do here? What is it that they're trying to achieve? And simply, it's silencing us. That's what they're trying to do. Silence us so that we don't ask questions, we don't ask the difficult questions of the council and the government. Simple.
So if Tower Hamlets decide to go ahead and designate Operation Raise the Colours as a far-right group, what happens next? Presumably they won't be allowed to do anything in the area. They could be arrested. I mean, where does it end?
Well, that's what we want to find out. So on Wednesday evening, there's a council meeting at 7 o'clock. From Canary Wharf and Cheshunt and Epping are going to the council offices to stand outside to understand what it is that they're going to do. What happens if we go to hotels and ask questions? What happens if we question the government about things that are happening in our areas and about the hotels and HMOs? Will we be arrested? It's just utterly ridiculous.
It's symptomatic of a nationwide issue, I believe, that there seems to be only an issue with a certain type of flags.
Correct.
I mean, I commute through Tower Hamlets, and I've got to say, for well over a year, Palestinian flags were flapping straight after October the 7th, 2 years ago. They were flapping even on some council buildings, and they were there for a long, long time. So long, some of them were torn in the wind. They've been there ages, that's my point. Whereas in about a month and a half alone, Tower Hamlets decided to use taxpayers' money to remove, we've got information here, 78 flags were taken down, Union flags and St George's flags in the area. we've got two-tier policing of flags.
Absolutely, and it's utterly ridiculous. The last time I checked, this was not Gaza, this was not Palestine, this is the UK, this is Britain. You cannot possibly, anyone in their right mind, say you are a racist to hang or fly your national flag in your own country. It's utterly bizarre.
Nigel Nelson, let's bring you in now. You're no fan of the Raise the Cudders movement, but surely it's too far to designate them officially as far right.
Yes, well, I think it is, because I don't like the terms far right. Far right, as Orla said, is a particular term, and it's used for people who use the tactics of fascist dictatorships. It's street violence, there's things like that. I don't like the term far left either. So I don't think the designation would actually make any difference at all. When it comes to the flags, I think that if you put a flag up on somebody else's property, this was the issue with Gary Neville, and it's the same issue in Tower Hamlets, then the people who own that property, in this case the council, have the right to take them down.
Yeah, but they don't take all the flags down with equity. That's the point.
No,
they leave the Palestinian flags flapping for a year.
I understand that.
But straight on the St George's
ones. But if you own a piece of land, then you have the choice of which flag to fly. I'm not saying that I'm in favour of Tower Hamlets Council flying Palestinian flags. What I'm saying is they have a right to do so.
But do they, though? Sorry to interrupt, but do they? Because they are a British council paid for by British taxpayers.
Yeah.
So why should they then have a flag, a Palestinian flag, instead of a British flag? It just doesn't make sense.
Tower Hamlets is a weird place because they're their own political party too. So it is strange. But the whole thing is they were elected by the voters to make decisions. And if they make a decision that they want to fly Palestinian flags or Ukrainian flags...
Yeah, but that's not the point, Nigel. The point is this. They can take flags down willy-nilly. Clearly, they're not offended by all flags, they're offended by some flags. The clear difference of point here, if you designate an organisation that operates outside of your constituency, outside of your postcode, because Raise the Cudders is nationwide, if Tower Hamlets takes it in their knowledge, in their wisdom, to designate this movement as far right, that has nationwide implications. The people that run this organisation...
Why does that have nationwide implications?
Because they're getting threatened on the streets. They come on my show, I've had them in, they're getting called Nazis, fascists, they're scared of their safety. Words have consequences. Calling them far right, how can that help?
Well, it doesn't help, but that is my point about I wouldn't designate the pink ladies, I wouldn't designate the people that we've had in the studio who put up flags as far right. But the fact that they do so at Tower Hamlets, they are entitled to have that opinion.
No, I don't know.
That is the free speech. That's the free speech argument.
But the free speech only seems to work one way. It doesn't work in our favour. It only works in their favour.
No, it does work both ways. I mean, you are able to go and protest outside asylum hotels.
Well, we won't be if this motion goes through on Wednesday. That's the whole point. So the thing is that we're concerned about, if this happens on Wednesday and it's allowed to happen, where else is it going to happen? Is it going to happen in Rotherham and in Birmingham and in Coventry and all those areas that would be considered multicultural? Are we then going to be shut down in all of those areas? Because then what happens is once you're shut down and your speech is shut down, then you can't ask questions. And when you can't ask questions, then you get the same scenario as the rape gang inquiry, where people are shut up for 20 years and the truth never comes out. That's dangerous. Yeah. Very, very dangerous.
I mean, I'm not arguing for free speech to be shut down, and you have the right to free speech as much as anybody else. Where the narrow argument was over the land where flags go up.
OK, we have to do there. A superb debate. Thank you very much for coming in. And please let us know how the council meeting goes on Wednesday. That's the Pink Ladies campaigner, Orla Minahane, and, of course, Nigel Nelson. Now, a spokesman for Tower Hamlets Council, leading party, Aspire, told GB News this. We are aware members of the public have been putting up St George's flags on various structures. While we recognise people's wishes to express their views, we have a responsibility to monitor and maintain council infrastructure. Where flags are attached to council-owned infrastructure without permission, they may be removed as part of routine maintenance.
Nick Dunning, GB News.